Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will discuss about the logicapp Servicebus actions and trigger. We'll see how do you post the message to the Servicebus topic or the queue from the logicapp, and how the logicapp workflows can be utilized to receive the message from the Servicebus topic or the Servicebus queues using the Servicebus trigger actions using the Servicebus using the logicapp Servicebus trigger component. Hi, my name is Rakesh Suryavanshi and you're watching PLO. So as you can see here in this demonstration, I have the logicapp workflow created. The workflow name I have given as a workflow, which is a stateful workflow. This is a time-based trigger workflow which we have created, and in this time-based trigger workflow we are composing a JSON request message with the customer ID as in random customer number, and then customer name is hard-coded with my name. Order is today's order date, and then order ID is going to be a unique GUID, status with the release status. Once this particular JSON has been created, we are sending this customer order message to the Servicebus queue, which is this. This is the name of the queue which we have used, and this is the content of the queue which we are sending. I'll give you a demonstration for this particular workflow, and then I'll come back to the workflow and show you how do you define this workflow to send the message and to receive the message as well. So if I trigger this particular workflow, the workflow has been triggered successfully. If I just open the history of this particular workflow, you would find that the random order number has been generated from the composer step. As you can see that the order ID is uniquely generated, as well as customer ID and order ID uniquely is generated, and this has posted a message to this particular queue. Now what does it mean? That I should have a Servicebus integration service, and in that I should have this particular queue or the topic to receive the message. So for this demonstration, I have a integration service which is a Servicebus service I have created here in my Azure portal. The name of that particular service is given as an integration bus 01. If I open this particular integration service, you will find that I have the queue created with the same name in which I'm sending the message. Similarly, I have a topic name is also been created, which I'll be using in this particular demonstration later on. So if I open the queue right now, you can see that it has got 4 different messages, and I can use the Azure Servicebus Explorer, which is available within the Azure portal. I can also use the desktop version of the Servicebus Explorer to view all my messages or to manage all my messages. I can directly send the message or read or peek log the message which is already been delivered on this particular queue or topic. So if I simply click here on the pick from start, that will show me all the messages, which is in this case 4 messages which I've received on this particular queue. You can see that first message I've received as with the ID 34, then next one is having the ID as, okay, I'm selecting multiple of them, that's why ID as a customer ID, which is 48595. Next one is different, and then the last one which we have sent just now from this workflow section, as you can see. So this proves that I'm able to send the message to the Servicebus queue from my logicapp workflow. Now let's look at how do you define your workflow to send the message to the Servicebus thing. What all things you need. So for that, I'm going to create a new workflow. So we'll call it as a Servicebus sender workflow, which will send the message to the Servicebus queue. I'll refresh this. Hopefully it is created. Yes, it is. Now in this sender workflow, at the moment, I do not have anything on the designer. So I'll simply go ahead and click here and choose the designer as the HTTP request type for this particular demonstration. In the previous one, I have anyway shown you the time-based trigger, but in this case, I'll use the HTTP trigger workflow. For now, method type, I'll use a post method type. so that I can post the message to this particular HTTP request type, and this will post the message to the Servicebus queue. Action type, I'll use the compose action, and I'll use a compose as in composing the message as is. So simply I'll construct the JSON here. You can directly send the message to the message content. So I'll say content equals to whatever content I'm receiving it from the HTTP request, which is a body, content body. I'll pass it as is, and I'll simply date, I'll post it as the today's date. So I'll use the UTC date function, which is available as in the built-in function here in the expression section. Next thing, I will simply post a message as in status. I'll say order received, or I say created, because we are creating a customer order in this case. Now this will create a message. So I'll say compose request, and the next thing I need is to post the message. To post a message, I'm going to use the Servicebus action trigger, which is of built-in type. You can see that I'm on the built-in tab, so I'm going to use the Servicebus. To post a message, I'm going to use the send Servicebus message. At the moment, I already have a Servicebus connection available in this particular logicapp space, so that's why it has detected that particular connection, and it is already been said that okay, this is the connection you might want to use. But in case if you do not have, or if you're using for the very first time, it will ask you to create a connection, which you can do it like this. I'll say change connection, add new connection, and then I can specify the name of my connection. So as I'll say Servicebus connection. There are multiple ways to specify the connection. First one is to obviously with the help of connection string, or you can use the direct authentication or managed identity as well. So if your logicapp has a managed identity access to the Servicebus, then you can simply connect to that. So for now, I'm going to use the logicapp's access policy, which is a connection string based configuration. So what I'll do is I'll copy this particular configuration. I'll specify the configuration value. So with this name, my Servicebus connection will be created. In this case, an additional connection will be created. So now if I click here on the change connection, I would have two connection with the same Servicebus. In the actual implementation, you may not want to have a multiple connection with the same Servicebus, but this is just to show you I have created two different connections. Now here, if I click on this particular drop down, I'll get a list of all the topic names which I would like to use, and I can simply use the topic name right here from this particular section. For the demonstration, I can choose the topic name right here from the from this particular drop down list. Though in the actual implementation within the integration, usually what I do is I prefer to create a parameter of those configurations. So for example, this is the parameter which we have, which I would like to use. So I'll use this particular parameter name, and I'll say enter custom value, and this is the name of the parameter I'll use. So I need to make sure that the Servicebus topic name is already been provided, as currently this particular parameter value is coming from the app settings. So I need to check what value I have on this particular variable as a topic name. So for now, I'm going to use this value. Next option I have is to specify what content I would like to post as a message to this particular Servicebus topic. So I'll use this particular option, which is a content. There are additional options available as well, which you can use. So at the moment, whatever compose message which we have created in the previous step, I would like to use the same compose step. So that's why I'm going to use the output of the compose request, and that's it. And that will send me the message. Now, if you would like to maintain or create a unique message ID, or some additional custom attribute which you would like to pass, then you can use either of these parameters while sending the message. For now, I do not have any such requirements, so I'll keep as is, because by default the Servicebus will create or generate all those properties when it sends the message to the Servicebus topic or the queue. Now the last action item what we have here is we need to specify the response type. Otherwise, if I think I will try to save it and see if it works or not. As it is worked. Now I would also request to, I would also like to use the built-in action type to send the response back. I'll say response type, response, HTTP body trigger type, and I'll say that compose, and in the compose I would use a property as an curly braces, and here with that what I can say here is I can use the customer ID, customer underscore ID. Let's see. So that will give me an idea which customer ID is being created the message with. Okay, or I can say ID here, GID. Now this ID I'm going to use as a response so that I know, okay, this is what we have received. So from the previous step, compose, and then you put a question mark here, and then you put the attribute out of that particular JSON or the complex attribute, and this is how you use it. So let's see if it works. Says invalid parameter. Let me see. I think I'm missing one comma here. Usually this is how why it happens, because without the comma it will say the invalid JSON, and that's why it's not able to save this. Now this is done. I should get a request URL here, which is this one. Now what I can do now, I can open the Postman request. I'll use this URL and simply I will send this response, this particular request message to post into a Servicebus topic. Let's see if it works. Of course it will not work, because first thing I need to check whether my Servicebus app setting has the proper topic name. So let me check that topic name in the app settings, because we are using the parameters, and in the parameter we have mentioned, let me show you in case if it is a little bit confused. Let me show you if in case if this is confusing you. So this is the parameter which we have used in our workflow to send the message to the topic, and this parameter is basically reading the value of the parameter from the app setting, and we should have an app setting name this Servicebus underscore topic underscore name. Now let's check what value we have on this particular configuration app setting value. So if I search with this configuration, this is the topic name. At the moment it has customer dash order dash topic. Let's see if we have the same thing. No, we do not have the same thing, so it would get an error. So better we update this value. So I have updated the value. That's it. This is a professional way or the best way to read the name of your parameter from the app settings, from the app setting to the parameter, and from the parameter to the workflow, right? It's a 3 steps procedure. Now we are ready to send a message. I think we are getting some error, unusual behavior from the logicapp side. So if I refresh it, this should work fine. Yeah, sender. Okay, now if I send this message, let's see if it works. That's it, and I got a GeoID return back from the response, because if you remember our workflow, we were returning the ID parameter, which is a customer ID, as a response back as in 200. That's why we have received this particular response. Now let's verify that as an history of this workflow. So if I'll just refresh this, I can see that we have a successfully run HTTP trigger run. We can find a history, and if we trigger that, we should have the same GUID which we have received. So let's look at the compose action. We have got this GUID which is ending with 46A. We were able to successfully send the message with the content, whatever content we have received. We have added the date and some additional properties such as the status, and the same ID, which is this one, we are sending it back. I'll verify that yes, this is exactly the same ID, which proves that our workflow is successfully run. Now let's verify this particular message whether it is been sent at the topic level or not. Now I'll go to the topic. So here in this topic, I'll click here. I'll click here on the Servicebus topic explorer. At the moment, I don't have any subscriber, so I won't be able to see any of these messages. So for that, to view the message in the topic, I need to create a subscriber. So I'll create a subscriber as a customer order sub, which is the name of the subscriber, and say delivery count 10. Yeah, subscriber is ready now, so I should be able to receive the message. What we have it there. Customer order post topic. So we have got the message here, which is this one. Now, because I did not create the subscriber, that's why it was not it didn't receive the message. So after creating a subscriber, I hit the postman again. So let me show you. And it will create another message. So you can see that this time again it has created a message with ending with 42AD. If I pick again, I should have two messages now. Yep. Now if I just open the second message, which is having 42AD, which is the same message ID, right? And similarly, if I refresh this, we should have 3 trigger, which we have just now completed, right? So this is how you can send the message from the Servicebus workflow. So we have seen the demonstration of both HTTP trigger as well as the time trigger. Now have a look at let's look at the demonstration of the Servicebus receiver. So I'll create a Servicebus receiver workflow. So I'll again, and this time again I have created a HTTP stateful workflow, which is a Servicebus receiver. Now as this is a receiver, what we need to do in the designer, the trigger type is going to be a Servicebus trigger type, which means that as soon as the message arrives on the Servicebus message, so it should basically receive the message from the Servicebus side. Okay, now here you can see that we have the option. So if I select from the built-in, select the Servicebus, you can see that the trigger type, I'm not on the action, I'm on the trigger type. And on the trigger type, you have two options: when a message available on the queue and when a message available on the topic. As we are interested on the topic subscription, so we have to choose that particular subscription option. So I need to give the name of the topic. Again, I can give the topic name right here by selecting this value, or I can use my parameters to give to specify the name of the topic. So best practice is to specify the parameters. So I'm going to use that according to the best practice. Again, if I use the drop down, you can see that I'm not able to view the name of the subscription because I'm using the parameter, so it's not intelligently able to find the parameters related to that particular uh, that particular topic. So again, I'm going to use a new parameter, and for that I'm going to create a parameter. I'll say Servicebus topic subscription. Okay, string value again I'll give, and here again I'll say this value, which is reading from Servicebus topic subscription. This is the name I would like to give. That's it. Then now again I'll go to the parameter section. I have the parameter now, and the same connection I'm going to use, or I can use the different test connection which we have created recently, right? Once I have the message, I can simply say that I need to compose that message. Let's say I just want to view the content of the message, so basically I will use the compose of that message. So I'll say content, I'll say msg content, message content, and then I'll return back to the I'll use the terminate block for now. Okay, so where is the control plane? I'll use terminate block, and it says failed, succeeded. That's it. You can have your own logic. What do you want to do with that particular message? But for now, our objective is just to receive whether the message has been received or not. So that's about the workflow to receive the message. And now I would like to verify the parameters which we have just now created. So that's the parameter we have. Just a moment, it's taking time. So that's the parameter name which we have just now created, and it's coming from the app settings. So I'll read this parameter value and see if it is already been created or not. No. So we have to create this app setting configuration, considering that this will be the value which will receive from the infrastructure. So that's the name of the parameter, which is a subscription name. So now we have got both Servicebus topic as well as the subscription name as an app settings, right? Now let's have a look at the workflow. Let me save this. Save. Okay, that's been saved now. So if I go to the sender again, or if I go to the receiver now, I should have the history automatically triggered for those two messages, as you can see. And because the trigger type was as the message arrived onto the topic, and we already had two different messages on the topic. So that has automatically triggered. We do not have to manually trigger. As when the message comes, it has automatically triggered, as you can see that. And this was the content of the message, right? Now if I just open the content as an output, this was the message of content message as in JSON. And then after that we have terminated. So we have end-to-end workflows. We have a sender, which is HTTP trigger type, which is sending the message, and we have a receiver, which is receiving the message. So if I give you an end-to-end demonstration right now by sending the message, let's say Smith, John Smith, okay, and I'll say WTC, let's save it, run. This will trigger create a message. The message has been created, but now as this is going to be so fast, I won't be able to see the message here. Even though if I say pick log, I would send, it will say no messages. The reason for that is because we have got the message and immediately it has been consumed by our receiver. So I'll show you the sender first of all. This is our sender, which is triggered just now at 11:38. This is just now triggered, and it has created a message with this ID which we have received, which is ending with 464B, which I believe it is the same ID. Yeah. Now if I go back to the receiver, I should have a receiver triggered as well, which has received the same message with the same message ID, message content, and this is the same, exactly same message ID as you can see here, 464BE. Yeah. So this is how in this demonstration we have implemented both sender and receiver using the Servicebus connectors, and we have used the Servicebus built-in connector for this particular demonstration. In some other demonstration we might see the Servicebus managed connector as well. So if you would like to see the number of connections available on your workflows, so you can go to the connections tab. You can have a look at the provider connection values like this, or you can also have a look at the JSON representation of those connections like this. Okay, that's it in this particular demonstration. I hope you have found this useful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do let me know if you have any questions in the comment box below. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.